Good morning, everyone. We have some new people on the call this morning. I'm excited. So we do this every Monday morning, and the way the Learn in Action calls work is I'll talk to y'all usually over a different topic for about 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll have a task that will work together. So it's kind of like a power hour at the end where we learn something in the beginning. So today we're going to be talking about retention. And retention is literally, it's like half your business, if not more. Actually, it's probably more than half of what your work should be focused on is retention. A lot of times it's real common for us, at least I know for me it is, to just put your big focus on recruiting. Like, it's exciting to bring somebody new in. It feels really good to sign somebody up. You get excited when you get that email. You have a new level 1, you get your business building bonus. A lot of times you get a prize that month that's tied to the recruiting. So there's all these incentives to recruit. And a lot of times retention, we don't even realize they're reordering. We're not paying attention. So there's no like instant gratification. There's no dopamine hit to the brain that makes us really excited when people reorder. But this is the part of the job that we have to be super intentional about and do the work to make sure it's happening. Otherwise, you're just going to see your points get stuck and never move past a certain point, or else you're going to constantly be fighting that battle of the up and down in your points and never being able to cross that next threshold. So we have to put our focus on retention. So I want y'all to think first this morning about some places that you find yourself returning to over and over and over, whether it be your favorite restaurant, your favorite store. Chick-fil-A is a great example that a lot of us continue to go back to if you're in the South, especially. I don't love their food. It's not my favorite food. It's not bad for fast food, but it's not like the most delicious thing I've ever ate in my life. But we keep going back because it's no matter how long that line is, I know I'm in and out in 5 minutes. It can be wrapped around the town and they still get me in and out in 5 minutes. They're nice to you. They tell you to have a good day. They say my pleasure. It's these little things like this. And sometimes you can't even put your finger on why. Like, what is it that makes me feel so like loved here? Like, why do I feel, like, I don't know, valued. And that is what keeps us going back. Is when we feel valued by the place that we're going to, we go back. If you ever go somewhere and someone's rude to you, maybe they don't help you, we don't tend to return. Maybe we walk away and we think to ourselves, like, that was really, they weren't very nice to me today, or I wasn't able to get the help I needed. Now, I want us to think of sometimes we forget, we're basically like the storefront of Plexus. You are Plexus's storefront. And the way you are treating the people who join you is going to define their experience with Plexus. Like, it's not necessary, sometimes they might have a bad experience with customer service, but typically it is us that makes the difference. So I want to make sure that we are giving our people the best customer care they possibly could receive. And so you need something in place, some sort of a system. I don't, if you want to call it a system, you can, maybe a daily checklist, something to make sure that you're checking in with your customers every single day. It should be part of your work every day. Of course, not the same person. We're not going to hound them every single day, but hopefully you have a list of customers that are either currently ordering or inactive. I want you to check in with one of each every day, whether that, like, make sure you're also checking in with your inactive people, just seeing if there's anything that, maybe they're interested in a new product, or, maybe, they haven't thought about Plexus in a while, but now they're ready to restart. But make sure you're always kind of touching back in with those ex-customers, those old customers, the inactive ones, because you never know when they might be ready to order again. One thing that's important with our customer care is how we're starting them off in the very beginning. So from the moment you sign them and get that email, what is the first thing that you do? Is it different with every single person? Or do you have something that you do the moment they sign? I used to be so good at this, y'all. And somewhere along the way, I stopped. And now it's just kind of like, sometimes I send them a guide, sometimes I don't. One of the things I am the most guilty of And my biggest weakness is I'm not a very good teacher. Like that's just not natural for me. I naturally assume if I know something, everybody knows it. And I realize that's not true. Somebody who just ordered Plexus, they don't know to start with ProBio 5 Slow. They don't know this. They don't know they need to work up to it. They don't know the schedule they need to be on. So how are you starting them off? That's the very first part of our customer care, is how we're starting them off. So whether that's sending them the guides, you can get the getting started guides. It's all on the resource page. If you're not in the resource page, let me know. I'll drop a link to that. But I have all the getting started guides on our resource Facebook group. So make sure we're starting them off with a guide, with directions, with something to make sure they know how to take the products and they're not just picking up the pill bottle and reading the directions on the back. We know it takes so much more than that. We don't want our people doing that. Okay. So make sure we're checking in with them in the very beginning. I want something for you to remember when you're working with your customers, that your happy customer is just one step away from being your next business builder. That's where most of them are coming from. Most of them are not coming from jumping in the beginning, wanting the business. That's how I started, but I am very much a rarity in that. Most people start for the products, fall in love, and share the business. It's part of the process. So if you're not giving them good customer care, they're not going to turn into a business builder for you. So it's also a very important piece of the puzzle, because it's where our team building comes from a lot of times, is that initial good customer care, making sure they love the products, making sure they're getting started right. So we want to start them right so that they can turn into our business builders. One other thing is, make sure we do not assume that no news is good news. I'm also very, very guilty of this. Sometimes I'm fearful to check in with people. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes we tell ourselves stories in our head. If we have one person have a bad experience, then we suddenly worry everyone's going to have that same negative experience on that certain product that somebody else did. And so we don't reach out because we're afraid to hear the bad news. We're afraid they're going to say that they had detox. We're afraid they're going to, have a complaint, and we don't want to hear that. So make sure we're not letting ourselves say stories in our mind that prevent us from following up. So just put it on your daily list so that you can check it off and make sure you actually do it and get over those thoughts you're telling yourself. Just ignore them, shove them away. You're lying to yourself. Don't listen to it. Just do the work that's on your list. Make sure we're doing it every day. And like Missy said, the perks report, that's a great place to go in and check to see if people are turning off their subscriptions, so that we're able to do that good customer care and follow back up and make sure they're using them. Not just that, I don't know, I send out texts regularly to the people in the perks. One thing that I am noticing is, I would say like 90% of our customers, they have no idea what perks is. They don't know they can get free products. Make sure that's part of that initial conversation. When they very first join, they should instantly know, since you got a welcome pack, you have 250 perks. On your next order, you'll be able to get something for free. After that next sub runs, you'll already have enough to get a free bottle of BioCleanse or whatever. And so make sure that they know what perks even is. That way they're excited about earning those perks and it means something. I see people all the time on my perks report that will have 2,000 or 3,000 perks that are expiring. Like, they should have never accumulated that many. They should have cashed them in. So make sure our team knows what a perks is. So if any of you like to use Excel, and y'all know me, I always have a little Excel sheet for you to help you along your way. I'm going to post this link right here. It's just a quick retention. It's a quick retention check. So you can see, what does my retention actually look like? It's so easy to think, oh, I think my retention's doing okay, or maybe it's not. It's such a vague word that we all kind of like judge, but we really have no data to back it. So this is going to let you know what percentage of your team over the past 12 months is ordering. So if you open up this report, and actually I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go ahead and put mine in, and I'm going to, so I can walk y'all through and tell you what it means. Let me find this month. Okay. Give me just a second, and then I'll share that with y'all. Should have already had mine preloaded in, but I didn't. Okay. Sorry. And now, okay, my computer froze for a half second. Okay. Okay. So can y'all see the spreadsheet here on my screen? So what you're going to do where it says you're just going to do your export in your back office, not the download, the one that says export. And you're just going to drop it right here in A1. And then you can go over where it says 12-month retention rates. And this is going to tell you. So last month I had 225 points worth of people join my team. And 86 points have reordered so far this month. So I'm at a 38% retention rate. I usually like to end the month closer to 70 right here. A lot of those run on the 28th. So if it's real low right now, don't get too panicked, because we still have 7 days left in the month. And a lot of those do tend to roll in toward month end. So just remember that. But as you see, as I go down, this percentage tends to go down big time. 10% from last July have reordered so far this month. That means my year over is not looking good at all. So this is an area that we really need to work on, is getting these, like, a lot of times I'll see 70 right here at the end of the month, and I'll see like 50 right here. And then it'll stall at about 40 in the last 3 or 4 months there. So there's a big drop off between month 2 and 3. And so that's another big area. We need to really make sure those people who have been on the products the last 2 months, like, they've given it their 60 days, like what is happening that's keeping them from continuing? Like, was the die off too much? Did they just not love, their results? Were they not, seeing the value in the results? Sometimes people are getting results and they're not realizing how valuable they actually are because they haven't thought about it. Because a lot of times people will start Plexus and they'll think, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to use these products. And then what they find, or maybe they don't realize it because they're not paying attention, is they're sleeping better. Maybe their restless leg went away. Maybe they're not having headaches or, mid of the day slumps. But nobody's pointing this out to them because they feel normal, and normal is something that we don't think about when we feel normal. We only think about how we feel when we feel bad. And so they get off the products. So they're like, they're not doing anything for me. I haven't lost 10 pounds yet. I've only lost 3. And, I'm only, I'm not sticking around. And so they stop. And so this is why we need to make sure we're talking about more than just the scale. We're talking about, like, those non-scale victories, and we're making them very aware so that they realize, oh, maybe these products are the reason why I'm sleeping so much better and I have all this energy during the day. And then if they sometimes quitting the products is a blessing, because it makes them aware of how bad they felt before they were in the product. So don't be afraid to reach out to somebody that hasn't used the products for a month or two, because they may be starting to notice they're feeling bad again. And that's a good time to talk to them about, how did you feel before? Like, did you notice this then? And kind of like point it out to them, because sometimes they need you to make that connection. The reason why they felt better was probably Plexus. So they need you to kind of help point that out to them sometimes. So what we're going to work on this morning is, y'all can play with the spreadsheet if you want to, look and see what your retention looks like. And then I want us reaching out to 2 of our current customers and 2 inactive customers, since we only have, about 10, 12 minutes here left. So that's going to be what we're going to do right now together. And I want y'all, if y'all have anything that's working that you're saying, put your verbiage in the comments. Let's share with each other, our feedback we're getting. So while we're doing this, we'll kind of go quiet for a little bit. But if you have something to say, drop it here in the chats, and let's help each other with, what we're doing and what we're saying. If y'all have any questions, let me know. For those of you that are a little bit behind, what we're doing right now is we're following up with 2 of our current customers and 2 inactive customers to try to get for our current customers, we want to show them that good customer care, and our inactive customers, we want to try to kind of win them back to get our retention rates up. So that's what we're doing right now.
Hey, Nikki,
Yes.
this data, okay, so does it encompass everybody on your team or just like the new people for the year?
Okay, so what it's looking at, so like on the June retention, it's looking at just people who ordered in June. So that first number was how many points you got off of them last month off of those people. And that's just the people who ordered in June that have reordered in July. So it's literally just looking at the June joins. And then like May is just May joins. Yeah, so this is just those people from that month. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't explain that very well. Again, going back to, I assume everybody knows what I know, so y'all have to tell me if I failed at that. I'm real bad when it comes to spreadsheets. Another thing I have found, I like voice messages. I feel like it's so much more personal. I like to start it off by saying their name so they know it's not just something that I've copied and pasted or I have, forwarded on. And I'll ask them about the products, but then I'll ask them, like, did you see the Barbie movie this weekend? Or, something that I know that they may have done just to kind of like check in on other things too. So make it personal to each person. So Amanda asked, a great way to reach out to old people that have stopped using. If you've sent a couple messages and you're getting crickets back, and you're just messaging them, asking them about Plexus, seeing if they want to reorder. If those are kind of the things that you continue to ask and you're hearing nothing back, take that as feedback. They're not responding to us for a reason. And so let's kind of shift it around and try something different. If there's somebody that you really think would be a valuable person and could really use this products, this is the time that maybe you need to start, working on the relationship side of things. Are you interacting with these people on their Facebook wall? Are you commenting on their stories? Is the only thing that's being said to them is, would you like to order Plexus this month? Would you like to order Plexus this month? Make sure we're doing something other than that. Make sure we are actually, we're offering something to them that is more than just trying to get a sale. We never want someone to feel like that's all we see them as is a sell. We want to be, that good customer service, thinking back to the places that we love and we like to go to. We go there because we feel valued. We want them to feel valued by us, not just because they bought something from us. We want them to feel like, it's more of a personal relationship. So make sure, I think on those people, if you're doing the same things and that's not working, I would start back on ground one and just, respond to their stories, comment on their Facebook stuff, get back into the relationship building side of things. And make sure there's conversations happening that are not just Plexus.
So I have been doing that actually. And on occasion I'll get them to comment back on a comment on their post. But as far as like anything that I send in their DMs, they like don't respond at all, even if it's not about Plexus. Like even if I'm just, yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes Facebook isn't showing stuff, and sometimes, maybe even like sending it, if you know them personally, have their cell phone number, maybe send a text and be like, hey, I sent you a Facebook message, making sure you didn't miss it. I know I miss some sometimes. I don't know why some of them just get hidden. It's like so weird. So it is very possible that it's not personal,
Ever since they introduced those chats with the groups, I get lost in my messages. And I bet a lot of people do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I hate the chats in like groups. Like, what is that? And they just pop up out of nowhere. And I'm like, where did this come from? Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully this was helpful today and y'all had some good conversations started with people. Now, just remember, this is not something we're just going to do today. Like, make this part of your daily income producing activities, that you're checking in with people daily and just constantly be trying to, achieve that high customer care that you would hope to get anytime you go to your favorite store. So y'all have a great Monday and thanks for joining in.